Most people think power comes from confidence, intelligence, or dominance, but in reality, interactions are often shaped by clever psychological mind games you don't even notice. And once someone starts using them on you, the balance of power quietly begins to shift. In the next few minutes, you'll discover 7 mind games powerful people use to influence situations, reshape perception, and gradually move reality in their favor. By understanding these dynamics, you won't just protect yourself from them. You'll start thinking and positioning yourself like a strategist who shapes outcomes instead of reacting to them. What you're about to see is not common advice. These are subtle psychological dynamics most people go through their entire lives without consciously recognizing. They are rarely taught, rarely explained, and often misunderstood even by intelligent individuals. But once you start noticing them, you begin to see why certain people seem to influence situations without force, without pressure, and sometimes without even trying. The first mind game powerful people understand is something most would never even consider a tactic. It is called outcome independence. Imagine 2 people negotiating a salary. One of them desperately needs the job. Bills are piling up. Sleep has been bad. Confidence is fragile. The other candidate wants the role, but does not need it. They already have options. They are curious, not desperate. Now watch what happens. The desperate candidate speaks faster, explains more, accepts conditions sooner, laughs slightly too much. The other one listens, pauses, sometimes even disagrees calmly, without raising their voice, without using any obvious manipulation technique. They slowly become the gravitational center of the conversation. Because power often belongs to the person who is emotionally freer. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus once wrote, "Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens." People who truly internalize this do not cling, and strangely, interactions start clinging to them. You can see this in relationships too. The partner who fears losing the other often adjusts their behavior first. They text sooner, apologize faster, compromise more, not because they are weaker as a person, but because psychological dependency quietly shifts leverage. Once you notice this pattern, you begin to see it everywhere. And once you stop needing immediate validation or results, your presence starts feeling heavier, more stable, more difficult to move. But emotional leverage is only the beginning, because powerful individuals do not just position themselves differently, they also control the rhythm of interaction itself. Think about the last time you spoke with someone who made you slightly nervous. Maybe it was a senior executive, a very confident professor, or someone socially dominant. Notice what they did. They did not rush. When you finished speaking, they waited, not in an awkward way, in a deliberate way, just long enough to make you wonder what they were thinking, just long enough for silence to feel meaningful. Most people fear silence. They rush to fill it. Powerful communicators use silence like punctuation. They slow meetings down. They slow negotiations down. Sometimes they slow entire rooms down. Marcus Aurelius wrote that distress does not come from events, but from our interpretation of them. When someone refuses to match your emotional tempo, your interpretation changes. They feel composed, intentional. And in social dynamics, what feels hard to read often feels powerful. You begin adjusting to their speed. You speak more carefully. You wait for their reaction. And without any obvious confrontation, they start controlling the flow. But rhythm is not the only invisible tool. Sometimes real authority appears when movement stops being easy. The third mind game powerful people use is friction introduction. We are often told that influence comes from being agreeable, from being easy to deal with, from smoothing every edge. But if you watch closely, powerful individuals sometimes do the opposite. They slow decisions down. They question assumptions. They introduce small moments of resistance, not aggressively, not emotionally, just enough to make progress feel earned. Imagine a business meeting where everyone quickly agrees with the proposed plan. Then one person calmly says, "Before we move forward, I think we need to examine one risk we may be overlooking." The energy in the room changes. Attention shifts toward them. The pace adjusts. Authority begins to form. Niccolò Machiavelli observed that human behavior often responds more strongly to pressure than to comfort. When movement is no longer automatic, people begin to calibrate themselves around the person creating thoughtful friction. But resistance alone does not create long-term advantage, because power also depends on what you reveal and what you choose to keep hidden. The fourth mind game is information asymmetry. In many interactions, the person speaking the most is not the one learning the most. Powerful individuals often ask more than they answer. They observe reactions, they collect details, they allow others to expose priorities, fears, ambitions and pressure points, while keeping their own position partially undefined. Sun Tzu famously wrote, "All warfare is based on deception." This does not mean lying or playing theatrical games. It means understanding that clarity is exposure, and exposure changes leverage. Imagine a negotiation where one side immediately states their maximum budget. The other side simply nods and asks more questions. Who holds more power in that moment? Sometimes the quietest person in the room is the one steering the direction of the outcome, but information alone does not shape reality. Emotional gravity does. The fifth mind game is reality anchoring. You have probably experienced this without naming it. A tense conversation begins, voices rise, uncertainty spreads. Then one individual remains calm. They lower their voice. They slow their movements. They speak with measured clarity. Gradually, the emotional temperature of the room begins to drop. People unconsciously synchronize with the strongest psychological signal available. Carl Jung once suggested that much of human interaction happens below conscious awareness. When someone refuses to be emotionally pulled, they begin defining the baseline others adapt to. They are no longer reacting to the environment. The environment begins reacting to them. But there is an even colder dynamic powerful people understand, one that quietly changes how others invest their energy. The sixth mind game is perceived replaceability. When people sense you have options, their behavior shifts, not because you threaten them, not because you announce it, but because relevance suddenly feels uncertain. Imagine two professionals competing for the same opportunity. One constantly signals availability, the other is harder to pin down. Meetings must be scheduled. Responses are thoughtful but not immediate. Suddenly, attention increases, effort increases, value perception rises. Baltasar Gracian wrote, "Never show all your hand." Scarcity, even when subtle, changes motivation. People try harder to remain important in the eyes of someone who appears able to redirect their focus elsewhere. And finally, the deepest mind game powerful people play is not about moments at all. It is about memory. The seventh mind game is narrative framing over time. Power is often determined by who defines what happened. After a complex interaction, most people move on. But strategic individuals summarize outcomes. They name turning points. They assign meaning. They influence how others remember events. Friedrich Nietzsche wrote, "There are no facts, only interpretations." Over time, interpretation becomes reputation. Reputation becomes expectation. And expectation quietly becomes reality. Once you start noticing these dynamics, interactions begin to feel different. You see where pressure forms. You see where influence shifts. You see how perception is shaped. Awareness alone changes how you position yourself. If this kind of insight resonates with you, make sure to like this video and subscribe. And which of these mind games have you already seen in action? Maybe before you had the words to describe them. Tell me in the comments. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.